The fastest plane of World War II was made of wood. A shocking fact, yet the Mosquito, light, agile, and nearly invisible to its enemies, changed the course of aerial warfare. With its sleek design and extraordinary speed, this British bomber stunned German pilots and forced them to reconsider their entire air strategy. But how did a simple wooden prototype go from being mocked to becoming a legend? It all began with a letter that defied the conventions of modern warfare. In 1940, British Air Marshal Wilfred Freeman received a proposal from the audacious designer Geoffrey de Havilland. His idea? A bomber made of wood, with no guns and no armor. The concept was laughable to most, but Freeman saw potential where others saw folly. The Air Ministry was skeptical, dismissing the idea as a waste of time and resources. They couldn't understand why a plane made from materials like balsa wood and spruce would ever compete with the metal giants of the time. Yet Freeman persisted, staking his career on the idea that speed could be more valuable than firepower. What followed were months of heated debates, where traditionalists fought to keep metal bombers as the standard. But Freeman, backed by de Havilland, pushed for the project to move forward. He managed to convince the government to give it a chance. A year later, 150 Mosquitoes were ordered without a single flight or trial to back it up. The gamble seemed absurd. But would it pay off? Stay tuned, because what happened next turned everything upside down in the world of aviation. November 1940. The day the Mosquito's wings first cut through the air. At Hatfield Airfield, the prototype, still made primarily of wood, roared into the sky, its twin Merlin engines blasting through the morning fog. This wasn't just a test flight, it was a statement. The aircraft that was supposed to be too fragile, too experimental, was already outpacing its metal competitors. The Mosquito, with its smooth wooden body and sleek lines, soared at over 380 miles per hour during its first serious runs, stunning engineers and RAF officers alike. Despite its lack of defensive armament, the Mosquito's speed and agility set it apart. The wooden body, sealed with marine varnish, proved resistant to moisture and rot, while its lightweight frame gave it a speed and maneuverability no other aircraft could match. In just one flight, the Mosquito had shattered expectations. This was no longer a Freeman's folly. The Mosquito had proven its worth. But how would the Air Ministry respond to this success? Stick around, because the decision to push this aircraft into service would change the war. By December 1941, the Mosquito was operational in the Royal Air Force, a mere year after its first flight. But the journey to get there had been filled with opposition and doubt. The British Air Ministry still wasn't sold, and the Mosquito had to prove itself as more than just an experimental aircraft. Despite the lack of guns and armor, the Mosquito's performance had already silenced many critics. It flew at speeds exceeding that of the famous Spitfire, and its lightweight design gave it a level of maneuverability that made enemy aircraft look sluggish in comparison. But the true test was whether it could survive combat. Production quickly ramped up, and the Mosquito began to fill the skies, primarily used for bombing raids and reconnaissance missions. As each new Mosquito rolled off the assembly line, it became clearer that this aircraft wasn't just a symbol of innovation, it was a game changer. Yet the Mosquito was still more than just an aircraft. It was a statement that Britain could outpace its adversaries. But would it have the versatility to serve in every role? Keep watching to see how it adapted to take on new missions. By January 1943, the Mosquito had become a legend. It wasn't just a bomber, it was an airstrike precision tool that could infiltrate enemy lines, disrupt broadcasts, and strike fear into the heart of the Nazi regime. One of the most famous operations occurred when Mosquito bombers swept over Berlin, just as Hermann Göring was about to broadcast a national address. The timing was no coincidence. RAF pilots had synchronized their attack to ensure that German airwaves would be disrupted at the precise moment Göring's voice would fill the nation's radios. The roar of Merlin engines cut through the airwaves, and Berlin's sky was left trembling. For 220 consecutive nights, the Mosquito returned to Berlin and other key German cities. Its strikes were so sudden and unpredictable that Luftwaffe commanders were often left scrambling. Fighters launched, but the Mosquitoes had already disappeared, leaving no trace but the memory of their speed. The Mosquito's ability to outpace interceptors and disrupt German morale was unmatched. But what made this wooden plane so difficult to catch? Stay tuned as we explore its unparalleled versatility and the many roles it would come to serve. The Mosquito wasn't just a one-trick pony. By the end of World War II, it had evolved into over 40 different variants, each designed for specific missions across every front. Whether as a heavy bomber, a night fighter, or a reconnaissance plane, the Mosquito was versatile beyond imagination. The basic airframe was designed for adaptation. The same plane could be quickly reconfigured for new missions. It could carry bombs, cannons, or cameras, and perform reconnaissance missions just as effectively as it carried out bombing raids. Some variants were equipped with radar for night operations, while others became expert precision strike tools. The Mosquito's ability to change roles with only minor adjustments made it a true multi-role marvel. It was adaptable in a way that no other aircraft of its time could match, allowing the RAF to deploy it in a wide variety of combat situations. And then came its most daring mission, one that would mark the Mosquito's legacy as the most versatile aircraft of the war. Keep watching to see how it played a key role in one of the most audacious operations of the entire conflict. On February 18, 1944, the Mosquito performed a strike that would go down in history. Operating at extremely low altitudes, the Mosquito bombers swooped down over the French countryside, flying so low that their wingtips skimmed the hedges. Their target? The walls of Amiens prison. At less than 60 feet, the bomb doors opened and two 500-pound bombs fell. The resulting explosion tore a 60-foot hole in the prison's perimeter, enabling prisoners to escape. In just minutes, the prison yard erupted into chaos. Resistance members, political detainees, and others scrambled for freedom. The attack was a success, with 255 prisoners escaping. While most were recaptured, nearly 80 managed to evade German forces, aided by local French sympathizers. The daring low-level strike was hailed as a success, with the Mosquito once again proving its adaptability and courage. The operation was a daring display of the Mosquito's ability to execute precision strikes under the most dangerous of circumstances. But how did this wooden plane leave such an indelible mark on the war? By 1944, the Mosquito had evolved into the most versatile aircraft in the Royal Air Force's arsenal. But what truly set it apart was its ability to serve across a wide range of combat roles. From high-altitude reconnaissance to low-level bombing, the Mosquito was continually re-engineered to meet new demands. Its most notable role was as a precision bomber. The Mosquito's ability to strike quickly and accurately without the burden of heavy armament made it an invaluable tool for targeted operations. One of its most famous missions took place during Operation Chastise, the famous Dam Busters raid, where Mosquitoes played a critical role in delivering the pathfinding flares for the bombers. However, the Mosquito wasn't just a tool for the RAF. Its adaptability also made it a favored choice for missions in the Pacific and Burma. Equipped with cameras, it became an essential reconnaissance aircraft that could gather vital intelligence with lightning speed. Its effectiveness in these roles led to the creation of specialized variants, each tailored for a specific operational need. Each role demanded precision, skill, and nerve. The Mosquito's ability to adapt to whatever task it was given was one of its greatest strengths. But could it continue to outperform its competitors? Keep watching to see how the Mosquito continued to disrupt conventional thinking in warfare. The Mosquito's legacy wasn't just built on its versatility, it was forged in the skies, where its speed and maneuverability made it virtually untouchable. Equipped with twin Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, it could reach speeds exceeding 400 miles per hour, leaving its enemies in the dust. What made the Mosquito particularly lethal was its ability to outrun and outmaneuver any interceptor in the sky. It wasn't just about speed, it was about how the Mosquito used its speed to its advantage. With no defensive armament, the Mosquito relied solely on its ability to get in, strike hard, and get out before the enemy had a chance to react. This strategy worked, time and time again. The Luftwaffe's frustration was palpable. Fighter squadrons scrambled to intercept, but the Mosquito was already gone. Its high power-to-weight ratio allowed it to outpace most German fighters, leaving them struggling to catch up. Even when the enemy did manage to engage, the Mosquito's agility often allowed it to evade incoming fire with ease. The Mosquito wasn't just fast, it was a precision weapon designed for one purpose: to strike fast and hard. And the legacy of its speed would influence aircraft design long after the war. Let's take a closer look at the Mosquito's lasting impact on aviation technology. The Mosquito's influence on military aviation went far beyond its time in service. Its design, particularly its ability to quickly adapt to various roles, became the gold standard for multi-role aircraft. Long after World War II ended, the Mosquito's design philosophy was integrated into future aircraft development. What set the Mosquito apart was how its basic airframe could be reconfigured to meet the needs of a wide range of missions. It could serve as a fast bomber, a night fighter, a reconnaissance aircraft, or even a transport plane, all with minimal modifications. This adaptability ensured that the Mosquito remained operational well into the post-war years, continuing to serve in various air forces around the world. Many of the aircraft that followed, both military and civilian, took inspiration from the Mosquito's multi-role approach. The idea that a single airframe could serve multiple purposes would go on to define the development of modern military aircraft. Today's multi-role jets owe a debt to the Mosquito's groundbreaking versatility. The Mosquito had changed the game, influencing air combat for generations to come. But how did the Mosquito's legacy continue to evolve? Stay tuned as we uncover how this legendary aircraft continued to impact future conflicts and aircraft design. Even after World War II, the Mosquito remained a symbol of cutting-edge design and operational effectiveness. Several air forces around the world continued to use the Mosquito long after the war ended, proving that this remarkable plane wasn't just a product of wartime necessity, it was a blueprint for future aerial combat. In the years following the war, the Mosquito found its place in several key post-war conflicts. Its adaptability allowed it to fill various roles, from tactical reconnaissance in the Middle East to clandestine operations in Southeast Asia. Even as new jet-powered aircraft took center stage, the Mosquito remained in service, proving that its legacy wasn't tied to a particular era, but to an idea: the importance of speed, agility, and adaptability. The Mosquito's post-war service was a testament to the brilliance of its design. It continued to serve in small numbers, with some variants even being used for civilian purposes like air travel and aerial surveying. The wooden aircraft that was once scoffed at had earned its place in aviation history. But the Mosquito's legacy isn't just about its design, it's about the men who flew it. Let's dive deeper into the incredible stories of the pilots who made history with the Mosquito. Flying the Mosquito was not for the faint-hearted. Pilots described it as a nervous thoroughbred, a machine that demanded intense focus and precision. With its high power-to-weight ratio and tight wing loading, the Mosquito was capable of incredible speed, but it was also unforgiving. One small mistake, such as a lapse in concentration or an error on takeoff, could result in a fatal crash. In fact, if one engine failed during takeoff, the Mosquito would become nearly impossible to control. Pilots had to be sharp, disciplined, and fully aware of the aircraft's unique handling quirks. Those who mastered the Mosquito, however, experienced something no other aircraft could offer: the thrill of sheer speed and the ability to outpace danger. Training was rigorous, with only the best pilots being cleared to fly the Mosquito on operations. Stories from Mosquito veterans reflect the demanding nature of flying such a powerful yet temperamental aircraft. The camaraderie between pilots was vital, as they relied on each other's expertise to survive. The risks were real, but for those who succeeded, the Mosquito offered a chance to defy death itself. But how did the Mosquito continue to evolve in the hands of its skilled pilots? Let's explore the unforgettable missions that cemented the Mosquito's place in history. The Mosquito's reach wasn't confined to the skies above Europe. Its impact on intelligence gathering and counterintelligence operations was just as profound. Equipped with cameras and advanced technology, the Mosquito became an aerial spy capable of capturing crucial enemy information with incredible precision. Perhaps most famously, the Mosquito was instrumental in capturing images of German rocket sites in the lead-up to D-Day. Its speed allowed it to fly under the radar, literally and figuratively, often returning with photographs of enemy installations that could have taken other aircraft weeks to obtain. In the world of espionage, speed is just as important as accuracy. The Mosquito combined both. Its ability to quickly gather intelligence without being intercepted or even noticed by the enemy made it an invaluable asset to the British intelligence apparatus. The aircraft's adaptability also played a role. Converted into reconnaissance models, it was used for high-altitude photo reconnaissance missions, spying on everything from enemy movements to military infrastructure. This tactical advantage was vital to the success of Allied operations, as accurate intelligence was key to outwitting German forces. The Mosquito proved time and again that in war, information could be as powerful as weaponry. But what happened when the Mosquito was tasked with a mission unlike any other? The next chapter reveals how it made history in a unique operation. The Mosquito didn't just disrupt German defenses, it struck at the heart of their confidence. Known for its speed and precision, the Mosquito became a tool for psychological warfare, conducting bombing raids and sabotage operations that had an outsized impact on enemy morale. Perhaps one of its most significant contributions to this strategy was the spoofing raids it executed. Using the Mosquito's agility and speed, the RAF could launch sudden, targeted attacks, leaving German forces on edge, uncertain of where the next strike would come from. These missions made German commanders question their defenses, leading to overreaction and wasted resources. One particularly memorable mission involved Mosquito bombers flying deep into the heart of Germany, bombing specific locations meant to instill fear and confusion. The aircraft's speed made it nearly impossible for German forces to mount a credible response, keeping them in a constant state of readiness but never fully able to engage the enemy. As the Mosquito's legend grew, so too did its ability to manipulate German perception, disrupting their military and civilian spirits. The psychological toll of these swift, precise strikes was one of the Mosquito's greatest weapons. But just how far could this psychological warfare go? The next entry reveals a mission that would forever change the war's course. As World War II drew to a close, the Mosquito's time in active service came to an end, but its impact on aviation was far from over. The aircraft had already proven its worth, participating in thousands of missions, from bombing raids to reconnaissance to the daring strikes on German targets. It had earned its place in history as a tool of precision and adaptability. One of its final significant missions was the attack on enemy infrastructure in the heart of occupied Europe, where Mosquito bombers, still capable of astounding speeds, sought to incapacitate key military sites. This mission would be one of the last in the Mosquito's storied career, but it perfectly embodied the aircraft's legacy, delivering a lethal blow to the enemy with little warning. The Mosquito, once dismissed as an impossibility, had reshaped the landscape of aerial warfare. Its versatility, speed, and ability to adapt to various roles set the stage for future developments in aviation. More importantly, it demonstrated that innovation, when paired with audacity, could rewrite the rules of combat. While the Mosquito was retired, its legacy endured, influencing aircraft design and operational strategy for years to come. The aircraft wasn't just a marvel of engineering, it was a symbol of what could be achieved when belief in the impossible overcomes conventional wisdom. As the Mosquito's journey comes to an end, its influence still echoes in modern aviation. A plane that started as an audacious gamble transformed into a game-changing force. But the legacy of innovation doesn't stop here. Watch the next video as we uncover another remarkable story that changed the course of history. The world of aviation continues to evolve, and the next chapter is waiting.